Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from New York. We're still waiting for attendees to come into the room as we have just opened up this webinar, and I'm going to give it maybe, a couple more seconds to let everybody walk into the room, virtually walk into the room. So we'll just wait a couple more seconds for that. But again, I just wanted to welcome everybody. My name is Zara Rizvi. I work for UNICEF in social protection in emergencies in their headquarters. And I wanted to welcome everybody on behalf of the SPEAC-B working group. Let me get this title correct. It's the SPEAC-B working group on linking humanitarian cash and social protection. It was formerly known as the Grand Bargain subgroup on linking humanitarian cash and social protection. And this is being co-hosted by the online community and social protection in crisis context, which is why we have Cecile here. Hello, Cecile. Thanks for representing. Welcome to our webinar on social protection response for Ukrainian refugees. And we are going to be talking about Poland's Big4 social protection programming, where we have the Social Insurance Institute from Poland, who will do a presentation on what they have been doing and how they have been expanding their social protection programming. And then we'll have some reflection from the different discussants. There's a couple of admin related things I need to get through first before I hand over to my colleague Pamela, who will be moderating that session. This is one of the first webinars in the series that the SPEAC-B working group has this year, and the second one is coming up on the 26th of May. If you want more information, we have our new coordinator for that group, Kate. And Kate, if you can just wave so that if you can stick your email in the chat box so that everybody can meet you, get to know you, etc. Other admin related things that we have is that you can join the online community and social protection in crisis context. So there's an online community. That online community has a D group. The online community also has a social protection hangout that they do every second Wednesday. And I believe Cecile has gone ahead and put in all that information in the chat box. We do have, we are asking everybody to use the chat box function for your question and answers. We had asked for questions ahead of time, which have come in, which is great. And we do have some limited space to be able to, ask any of your questions, but please use the chat box function for that. In the second half of the webinar, where we will have the discussants, is when we will, yeah, brilliant, thank you. So there we go. Please state your name and organization, etc. You have, Twitter as well to come on to and interact with us. And please just, put all your questions in the chat box. We'll open up the chat box wider. Right now, it's just for hosts and panelists. But for the last half hour of the webinar, when we have the discussants on, is when we will open up the chat box function fully to everybody. There is a survey at the end. If you click out of the webinar survey, it doesn't take a lot of time. And it is critically important for socialprotection.org, that they can get feedback on what is, what is the need from all of you practitioners. Huge thank you for everybody for pulling together this webinar in such a short time. I believe we've pulled it together in a week. A big thanks to Director Shipke, who is here from the Institute of, from the Social Insurance Institute. Super appreciate the time you've been able to take, and to all of our discussants. And also, I do want to thank socialprotection.org for their flexibility, for providing, this service of having this knowledge management platform for us. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand over to Pamela to get us started. Over to you, Pamela.
Hi, thank you so much, Sarah. It's so exciting to be here today, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as you said, to all of the colleagues, and thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you in particular for our panelists and our discussants. I think we're going to have a really rich discussion that'll be a great learning opportunity for all of us. So, I'm very excited to join the other colleagues on the call in a thank you for organizing this, and also a welcome to the discussion on the social protection response for Ukrainian refugees, focusing on Poland's Big 4 social protection programs. I think everyone is aware, but I'll just say this webinar is taking place obviously at a critical time when we have governments and donors, international organizations, national organizations, the private sector, and very visibly private citizens coming together to address the incredible toll that the war in Ukraine is taking on children and families. According to data shared by UNHCR, in the 7 weeks since the war began, we've had over 4.6 million refugees who have fled Ukraine. It's a big figure, and it's a hard figure, I think, to comprehend. But what it breaks down to is more than one person becoming a refugee every second over the past 50 days. And I think 90% of those refugees are women and children, and most of them, more than 2.6 million of them, have come to Poland, which is one of the reasons that we're really excited to have our presenters today talking about the response to the crisis, in particular in Poland, where the very, very large caseload. The speed and the breadth of the Temporary Protection Directive passed by EU member states has really helped to limit the legal barriers that many Ukrainian refugees have faced when they're entering the EU, when they're accessing critical services, so including social protection services, but also health, education, etc. But refugees still face considerable barriers in accessing support. A UNHCR mapping looking at refugees' access to social protection in 45 European countries, which was done in the context of COVID-19, found a wide range of barriers, including very specific barriers for asylum seekers, who often can receive special assistance outside of mainstream social protection schemes, but have less access to those schemes themselves. That work by UNHCR also pointed to de facto barriers, so documentation requirements, proof of residency, difficulty accessing bank accounts, language barriers, lack of awareness, discrimination, etc. And found particular gaps in areas like housing schemes, where there's already a significant unmet need, often in many member states. For Ukrainian refugees, there are also variations in the way that the Temporary Protection Directive is being applied across member states. There are issues of rising prices for food and fuel, which can limit the purchasing power, even when support is provided through social protection systems. There are potentially strained public services, which also bring many challenges. Beyond this, there are many practical challenges, and I think they're the type of challenges that those of us working in the social protection community have seen, have talked about, have tried to fix for many years. And there are often things like slow or onerous registration and approval processes for accessing benefits, lack of contingency budgets, inadequate referral services, the lack of interoperability between databases, or lack of functional databases altogether. And these challenges can and often do undermine effective and fast response to refugee crises and to shocks generally. And it's for that reason that I was so impressed when I had the chance to meet with Poland's Social Security institution, ZUS, several weeks ago. So I went into that meeting hoping to learn more about how Poland is providing social protection to children and families. And I walked out of it wondering how we can help others, government partners, but also our own agencies and organizations to really learn from ZUS's experience and to be inspired by the speed and the volume of the response that they're delivering, and to understand how we can learn from that and take that to other refugee contexts, or in general to other shocks, and how we can learn, apply those lessons that are being learned about expanding social protection systems rapidly. So with, again, a thank you to Zara, to the SPIACB partners, the socialprotection.org team, for giving us this opportunity. It's my very, very sincere pleasure, and I'm very grateful to be introducing our speakers today, who you should be able to see on the screen. But we have Mr. Mario Shedinak, who's a member of the ZUS Board of Directors, responsible for administration and the public procurement division. And then we also have Mr. Andrzej Szybke, who's the director of the Foreign Pensions Department of ZUS, and will be the main speaker today. And so without further ado, over to you. Thank you.
Hello, sorry. Hello, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank you on behalf of Zakład Ubezpieczeń Społecznych, so the Polish Social Insurance Institution, for the opportunity to participate in this webinar. for my organization. This kind of cooperation is something new, opening up new opportunities, inspiring for the development of our services. So it's quite new for me to be in such good company. The aim of the presentation is to present programs in Poland aimed at families of refugees from Ukraine, providing financial security for children, so mostly for children coming from the territory covered by the war. So I'd like to share our experience from this practical point of view on this programs, on 4 programs, big programs for Ukrainians and for children. So if I can start with the next slide, maybe I can just provide with just a short presentation about Poland. I represent, so Poland is a country with 38 million of inhabitants. We border with Germany, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Ukraine, Belarus, Russia, and Lithuania. So we are one of the closest neighbors of Ukraine, capital city Warsaw, and also have administrative division into districts, counties, and communities. So, which is województwo, powiat, gmina. It is quite important from the perspective of providing some governmental support on a particular level. So, so especially powiat and gmina plays a very, very important role in direct contact with refugees. So next slide, please. Now, just a few words about ZUS, Social Insurance Institution. I represent this public social security agency. So mostly it deals with social security programs, social insurance, collects contributions, pays out pensions, and so on. We are a legal person. We are not actually government or budget. We are a separate legal person, but we are for administration of governmental programs. So one of the new tasks is providing family benefits for families in Poland. It's quite a new task. So maybe the next slide, please. This offers actually 4 programs. The first program, Dobry Start 300+ and Rodzina 500+. Those programs are taken over from municipalities. The first one in last year, the second one this year, and this third and fourth program, they are completely new, and they exist since this year. The first one, this RKO, so Rodzinny Kapitał Opiekuńczy, since the 1st of January this year, and the second, the last one actually, nursery financing, is since the 1st of April, so it's really new. I will tell a little bit more about that just in a couple of minutes. The issue is that we are in the progress of changes in ZUS. So as you see, this is not like programs being handled for years. It's quite new for our organization. And what's important to say that thanks to savings related to taking over this first 2 programs by ZUS from local communities, amounting about 3.5 billion of zlotys, it is possible to launch and finance the next 2 programs for children. So there's this family care capital, RKO, and nursery supplement. So this is completely new issue for us. But the secret of success is to base those programs on digitalization of application for benefits, automatization of granting the right to benefits. We use quite sophisticated special software, actually a robot for granting benefits. and so automatic payment of benefits to bank accounts. But on the other hand, supporting applicants in submitting electronic applications in order to prevent digital exclusion. So in other words, special software of Zeus allows for automatic granting of benefits without human intervention is essential in the awarding benefits. The possibility of using a robot for award benefits requires the submission of applicants of the application of claims for benefits in electronic form only. So we don't have any paper claims, but only electronic claims. In order to facilitate electronic submission of applications, special application wizards have been prepared on our electronic services platform, and which guide the applicant by clicking on, and you can click out actually the claim for family benefits. It's also supported by messages, information, tips, explanations. So all this stuff which can guide you to properly fill in the form. So this solution was successfully implemented last year to handle this first program, so 300 plus, which is a kind of school startup for school year. So each child in Poland is eligible for such support for the beginning of school year. So it's 100 zlotys. It's like 70 US dollars, more or less, just to support some, the beginning of the school year. So families are entitled to get this money each year. And last year, when we taken over this program, Robot granted over 4.4 million of benefits without any human intervention. So it's quite profitable, quite effective, and we are able to manage claims in this way in a quite short time, just a couple of weeks, and everything is done actually with this kind of software. The solution was as I mentioned, successfully implemented. And as a part of programs implemented from this year, so January the 1st this year, Robot granted over 440,000 of benefits from this third program, this RKO. This program is also based on automatic software, and also 4.4 million of benefits 500 plus, which it just shows those numbers. It shows that this kind of software is very effective, and it's really comparatively cheap if you compare to all the paperwork done by clerks and just manually. So it's very effective. So due to this high efficiency of this technology in relation to programs for families, so we decided to use robots to grant family benefits to refugees from Ukraine. And in this way, we are able to establish, we were able to establish law. We changed the law accordingly, and we'll pay those benefits to a large group of beneficiaries as quickly as possible. So we will avoid many months of that will be needed by officials to conduct administrative proceeding manually. And it was mentioned that we have a quite big number of refugees from Ukraine. It's 2.6 million of persons who entered Poland from Ukraine, and so we estimate about 1 million of those people are children, and it is very important to provide the support for families and for children as soon as possible. So this is a special software which will serve to help and to resolve this problem. So we are developing currently a robot in Zeus for awarding, as we say, as we call it, Ukrainian benefits. So it will be ready at the beginning of May. So next slide, please. Just a few words about what results from the special law passed in Poland to provide support for refugees from Ukraine. This act was approved on the 12th of March this year and already has been amended several times in order to improve the support even more. So please, next slide. And this act lays down special rules for legalizing the stay of Ukrainian citizens who came to the territory of Republic of Poland from territory of Ukraine in connection with war, and obtaining a special status, so-called PESEL UKR, under this act. It makes easier for refugees to function in the territory of Republic of Poland. It gives access to many social and not only social services in Poland. So we can get like access to labor market, use social services, and also get healthcare as well. And also, whenever the law refers to this citizen of Ukraine, it also should be understood that it's the spouse of citizen of Ukraine are covered by this special act. So next slide, please. So the most important thing in this act is the main profit is the legalization of stay in Poland for people who escaped from the territory of Ukraine, and stay of such person is considered legal for a period of 19 months from February 24th this year. So until August 24th of August next year, they have no problem with legal stay in Poland, because they are approved as legally residing or legally staying in Poland. So next slide, please. So how to use this right? First of all, it's important to get to be registered. So you must register in Poland. Now, just a few words about this process of registering refugees from Ukraine in Poland. So to exercise right, you must register in so-called PESEL register. So PESEL register is used normally to register people permanently residing in Poland. So mainly it used to be applicable for Poles, but now it's applicable also in a special way to refugees for Ukraine. So the registration process is carried out in such a way that the refugee and the child just report to the commune office, so the municipalities, with documents they have and have to complete a special application for a PESEL number. So you have to fill in a special form. You have to show up just documents like passports, wherever you have with you, and the clerk just after verification is giving this number as immediately. Actually, it is assigned immediately by the clerk. And also special UKR marker is additionally entered in the PESEL register. So PESEL register normally used for persons staying in Poland for the permanent stay is also used for these purposes, and special tag is added to persons who are accepted or who are verified as refugees from Ukraine. So if we are dealing with a person who has already been to Poland, so because we have quite huge community of Ukrainian nationals living in Poland, working in Poland. They were traveling a lot, and there are many people who can already be given parcel number. So if such person reports to the commune office, this person can obtain this special tag, this UKR tag, confirming that this electronic system is actually giving this person the special status of this act of 12 March. So this person is registered in electronic register. So next slide, please. Just very short explanation what this parcel number is, because parcel register is one thing, and in this parcel register we have parcel number. Parcel number is universal electronic system, and this is identification number. This is something which could be comparable to like social security number or sometimes like other numbers given by authorities, internal authorities of different countries, just for identification of a person. So a personal number is used in different ways, and as we say, personalize yourself in Poland. So everybody get this number at the birth and after being registered of birth. So the personal number is mandatory for all permanent residents in Poland, also not only for Poles, but also for other persons, for everybody who's entering Poland for over 2 months is given parcel number. If this person is going to resides in territory of Poland. So also it is used for taxation, so for tax authorities as well. So there are different purposes. Also for social security matters, it's also used this number. So normally it's just a number whose identifier, but in this special situation, we use this number also to register special status for purposes of the special act. So next slide, please. And now just a short presentation of benefits offered by Polish law to refugees from Ukraine by the special act of March 12th. So I have listed here a few basic forms of support for refugees from Ukraine, and this information is of general nature. So in view of the topic of my presentation, I will not go too much in detail in this particular areas, as my organization is not dealing or not handling with those forms of support. I will focus on this programs for families, for children, but just to have just general knowledge about that. First thing is emergency assistance. So help from voivodes. So this the biggest level of our administration. It consists in providing accommodation, food, transport, medical care. Refugees can apply for one-time benefits of 300 zlotys, a different one from this 300 zlotys for one child, as I mentioned, so different programs. And persons accepting refugees can get refunds for this per day, about 4 Polish zlotys per day, and up to maximum up to 2 months. So this is it will be financed from the state budget, and this is first form of support. The next one is access to labor market. The legalization of stay under this special act will allow refugees to work without any need to obtain any work permit. So this it's quite easy to get work. Refugees also will be able to run businesses on the same terms as Polish citizens. So they will get also to labor market institutions, which means also to some forms of supporting in case of unemployment. So maybe the next slide, please. Access to social benefits and healthcare. This is also what they can benefit. Family benefits, social welfare benefits, alimony fund, free psychological assistance, to some like also health benefits, healthcare, professional and social support for people with disabilities, many different kinds of support, just situated in a system of social assistance, also can be granted to refugees from Ukraine. And also, among others, there's also access to family support provided by a social insurance institution, by those who I represent. So next slide, please. As a result of the introduction of Special Act, so new categories of people entitled to benefits emerged under this already existing 4 programs for families administered by ZUS. So we can say, in other words, that the effect of this act, of the Special Act, is to make the rights of refugees from Ukraine equal to those of the current beneficiaries of Polish programs for families. So equal to Poles, so equal to Polish citizens. So it means that no new, unusual or limited forms of support has been introduced in case of this benefits for families, but this act is given refugees exactly the same access to cash benefits for children as the same as Polish families. So a specific form of support actually it's only applies to caregivers of children from Ukrainian orphanages who came with these children to Poland. But I will tell more about that in just in a couple of minutes. They can get special support actually in other way than on a regular basis. I mean families. So because they represent institutions, and there's another way of supporting this children as well. So please, next slide. I will just I'm just looking quickly through the chat, but I'm trying to respond to the queries. Also, there are some I think a response in my presentation, but I will also try to respond them later on. Actually, the heart of our presentation is the Big4 programs. On the slide, you have information about the scope of support for children from Ukraine in the terms of cash benefits from system for families. So as you can compare the beginning of this presentation, those exactly the same 4 programs presented and administered by ZUS for families in Poland. So we have the same 4 programs for Ukrainian children. And so the first program, childcare benefit 500+, it's the financial foundation for supporting families in Poland. This program entered in force in 2016, and they say that it contributed to a significant improvement of the financial situation of families in Poland. It strengthened them and gave them due priority. It is of course political issue, but the truth is that in this way, a Polish family, they get 500 zlotys for each child each month, up to if for children up to 18 years old. So so it's for Poland, it's quite huge. It was a huge challenge to to start with these programs, but it works. And this program was taken over by ZUS from local governments this year. So this benefit is a universal benefit for every child residing in Poland. It's approximately this 500 zlotys. It's about 160 US dollars per month for each child. And this is basic program, and benefits, what is important, do not depend on the family income. These benefits are not subject to any administrative or bailiff enforcement, and they are not taxed. So they are actually free of charges. This just 500 zlotys net in money. And what is important, this program affects approximately 6.5 million of children in Poland. Those are beneficiaries of this program. So this is the first program. The second program, 300 plus, is long-term governmental program launched in 2018. It's a one-time cash benefit for children attending school at the beginning of the school year, and it's and this related expenses concerning this any kind of stuff. So you can apply for them every year. And what is important, application can be submitted from the 1st of July up to the end of November each year. So now there's no window for claiming, and it will start at July the 1st, and all the beneficiaries, all the claimants can then will be able to submit forms for this support, for these benefits. So generally, it applies to children under age of 20 who attend school, and this benefit do not depend on family income, not subject to any enforcement. So this program affects approximately 4.5 million children in Poland. The third program, Rodzinny Kapitał Opiekuńczy, so like a family care capital, is completely new, and from the 1st of January this year. And under this program, a parent of child aged 12 months up to 35 months may receive 500 zlotys or 1,000 zlotys. It depends on the choice of this person, of the claimant, per month, but no more in total than 12,000 of zlotys for what is important for the second and subsequent child in the family. So this is not for the first child, but only if you have more than one child in the family, you can get this benefit. So persons with one child are not eligible for this benefit. This benefit also applies to adoptive children. So also it does not depend on the family income and so on. So this is just free of charges. And so far, because this is completely new, so we are not collecting claims, also awarding these benefits. And now, so far, approximately 500,000 of children are covered by this program. So now this robot just awarded 460,000 of benefits with this automatic software. And the last one, nursery supplement. So co-financing the reduction of parents' fee for the children stay in the nursery. It is benefits in a month up to 400 zlotys per month, no more than actual fee for the child's stay in the institution. So it is payable to account of the institution. So it's paid on the account on nursery, in which the child is placed. So where the child attends So application collection is since April the 1st this year, and we haven't yet started payments because we are collecting this claims. There's a special register of children in nurseries in Poland, so we can just go electronically to this register, and at the beginning of May we will just send questions, this request files to this register, then replies, and based on that, who is attending this nurseries, then we'll get the support. What is important that this is not for children who are covered, who are receiving this family care capital. So in case child is receiving family care capital, then it is this child is not entitled to this nursery supplement. So those two programs are, we can say that they are applied together, we can say. So since February the 24th, more than 2.5 million of people fleeing for the war from Ukraine have come to Poland, and so we estimate about 1 million of those people are children. So to the numbers, we should add this corresponding numbers, to numbers of beneficiaries of these programs. We should add numbers of corresponding numbers of children from Ukraine. So, of course, for the first program, it covers children up to 18 years old. Sorry. The second one, children attending schools in Poland. So it will depend on how many Ukrainian children will attend schools, because you have in a claim you have to make a statement about school your children are, or your child is attending. So this is in this claim. The family care capital is for little children, so 1 year up to 3 years old, and similar this nursery supplement also for small children. So when we can imagine how many people can can apply for this programs, then it is for us quite obvious that we have to prepare some adequate tool, which is we think this automatic software for automatic processing of claims submitted online. So next slide, please. And then this applications for family benefits. So what is the process of applying for benefits for children from Ukraine? There are very practical tips. So to submit this application, applicant and child must have PESEL with this special UKR tag. So have to register in PESEL register. These applications should be submitted only electronically online on electronic services platform. So this is a special online platform run by Zeus, and this is only a possibility to apply for these benefits. Claimant first needs to create account on this platform before submission of claim, and then special application wizards of claims are available for beneficiaries. So the applicant must have also Polish bank account, Polish telephone number and email address, and insert this data in electronic claim form. What should be underlined? This is support which is provided for persons, for families residing in Poland, legally residing in Poland, which means that all these people are estimated as they are treated as persons residing in Poland. So it means that if you turn back to Ukraine, no longer you're entitled to these benefits. So also it means that there's necessity of providing Polish bank account, telephone number, but also email address is important for communication with customer, which is similar to this already existing solutions for this purposes of this special platform. So one of the most important considerations in this is that the applicant uses the appropriate claim for benefits. So we have different forms in our platform, on our platform, but it is important to use the proper claim, because if you use not correct claim, then your claim will be sent to not proper robot, we will say. So we know that there's a robot behind. So just to be sure that the child will get automatically benefit, you have to apply. You have to use this proper claim. So there you can see the proper numbers, proper names of this forms. So data is very important. Otherwise, we have to sometimes handle these claims manually, not automatically. And if there are thousands of or hundreds or thousands of such unprepared claims, then we can imagine that how many clerks and how much time it will last to proceed them. So this is very important. So actually, it is one of the key issues currently. Claim for 500 plus is already available on our platform. The second one here, so this family capital, this claim for family capital will be available about 22nd of April. But even if you are registered previously in, let's say, in March, don't worry. So I mean, those people also will get benefits retroactively. Yeah, so benefits with arrears from March. So all the money also for March, for April, and will be also awarded and will be also paid out. So, but this special form will allow to do it electronic. The third one is slightly different story, because we use exactly the same forms as for Polish parents, for Polish families, because this nursery supplement is not based on national or citizenship on anyone. So anyone who have in Poland children in nursery can apply for that. So this is not important for us if it is Ukrainian or not, or a person from Belarus or wherever. So it means that the same forms are used. And the last one, so 300 plus, it's not available now. Also for Poles, it is available since the 1st of July next year. So next slide, please. Just I will go try to just to speed up maybe. I understand, because there's a lot of things to tell.
Yeah, and it is Director Shipka, thank you so much for this. Yeah, it's just because we do want to be able to leave some time for the Q&A, and everybody will receive the PowerPoint afterwards, but this is fascinating. Thank you so much. But yeah, if we can do like another 2-3 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, just a short remark on the special solution for children from Ukrainian orphanages. Actually, they get support via through the Powiat authorities. So those people, those clerks, those persons, legal guardians from Ukraine who are responsible for those children, they have to register those children in a special register. So it is called like minor register, special register established for those children. And after that, powiat clerk, so in other words, county clerk is representing these children and is applying for this benefit. Special instructions have been sent to these clerks, to these powiats, so they know how to click out their claims for those children, and also this will be awarded automatically. So maybe next slide. So I just maybe I'll only say that it is important that this claim should be made electronically. I will not repeat why, because I think I already explained. So maybe next slide, please. So electronic services platform. Actually, automatic ZUS service processes are based on access to public registers. So, in other words, if we apply electronically, we in ZUS we can check electronically eligibility to benefits, and that's all for the moment. So next slide, please. The tool for claiming, so electronic services platform of ZUS, it's prepared. This platform is normally used for many other stuff. You can apply for many other things to ZUS, but one of these services is special service for Ukrainian refugees. So it is service in Ukrainian language version. So the application is in Ukrainian, not only claim, but also the content. Also, the application is also available in Ukrainian. Inside, Ukrainians, they get support of the form of wizards. You can be just handled, can be handed, just click out the form easily. For purposes of just, you know, for people who are not familiar with clicking out electronic forms, our staff is also offers help, assistance to complete the application, also to get this account on this platform, whatever you need. So the customer service rooms, but also we have mobile points, so-called PUE rooms, and it's also available not only in our offices, also tutorials, also other forms, information, and also in Ukraine we have instruction. So window by window, how to click out the form. Here there's also a link to this to the service. It's I just maybe next slide, please. I just this is like it is look like currently for Ukrainians, so they can easily get this is starting window, and they can use this, and then they can apply for it. Click out. So next slide, please. So as I mentioned, on one hand, our organization focuses on the electronization, automation of the processing of granting. But on the other hand, it is crucial, it is important. This approach requires special support for applicants, for claimants, to avoid the problem of digital exclusion. So then you can find different forms of such support. So a special hotline Ukrainian. We have you can email to a special email address. There's assistance of our clerks and customer service. We have special point at the National Stadium in Warsaw. which is quite nice solution, because we are there together with municipalities of Warsaw, with banks. So you can there's also ZUS, so we can you can just get these services together, get different things like a personal number, bank account, and apply for family benefits in Poland. So it's we find it very profitable for our customers. So next slide, please. We have also a website prepared also with in Ukrainian, where you can get information about also about programs like 500+, which is the most important one, but also about other things, also social insurance, whatever. You can get access to also to social security in Poland. You can read about it in Ukrainian, and you can also have more information. So next slide, please. Here you can find information about 500+ for Ukrainian refugees. So next slide, please. And here, as a part of our website, you can find also information about in which localities, in special places all over Poland, there are like opening days, or kind of this so-called PUE rooms. So our mobile teams are offering access to these benefits. So we organize such special events, and you can find information about consultations for Ukrainians when they can get more assistance on that. So you can search in this searching tool. So next slide, please. So this special service at the National Stadium, we have 30 stands for customers. It's a complementary solution for customers can obtain, as I mentioned, personal numbers, bank account, and so on, and get also benefits from family programs. So it is open with some breaks. Currently for Easter there will be a short break, but after that they will be also continuing. And we have also special events like a weekend for Ukraine. It was at the end of March, but also we organize such events. So next slide, please. And this is a practical summary. What are our current needs? So this is crucial to carry out just this refugee registration process in Poland efficiently. And it is important from our point of view to get this properly filled in forms on our electronic platform, and used and if they use proper forms. So currently the most important thing is information from our perspective. So any kind of support which covers contacting, informing customers about this requirement, about the way of claiming, of submission of claims. It's profitable, and we will be very happy if anybody can help with proper information for these customers. So then we will be sure that we really ASAP can pay out those benefits. So just from our practical point of view, we find this the most important thing currently. So I think it could be good just to place those information in any place where they are living, they are coming, they are doing anything, refugees from Ukraine. So when they are refugees, we would like to get we would like to direct or send this kind of information. So if there's a possibility of assistance in such a way, then we'll be very thankful. And next slide, please, which are the end of our presentation. Just contact to our organization for any reasons. It's contact for clerks, for officials, not for customers, because for customers we have different call centers. So this is contact for our purposes and for also purposes of any kind of cooperation or offers, just to be discussed and to be any kind of issues can be sent here. So this is how I got to the end of my presentation. Sorry, I have some problems with voice, but I did it, so thanks a lot. Thank you for your attention, and I hope this information will be useful for you and interesting. So if any questions, just let me respond. So sorry if it was too long. I just try to explain as much as possible, and I'm very talkative as you see. So thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Director. I think I think that being talkative shows your enthusiasm and also just the extent of what you're doing. And many of the questions that were posed in the chat have actually been answered just in the course of your presentation. So again, a very warm thank you for that. I wanted to ask you just a couple of key points where I think there was a lot of interest. First, just a quick one so you launched the process for registration for 500 plus on the 26th, I believe it was, of March. Do you have a sense of how many people have registered to date?
But you mean registers for 500 plus?
Or for the programs as a whole, but
okay, for family, not pesos, because as for pesos, it's about maybe let's start with peso numbers. How many pesos are given? It's about 900,000 of pesos. So almost we have almost 1 million of pesos given to refugees, from which about half of that people are children. I said the first information. And when we talk about children from Ukraine and this 500 plus, which is that's the case. Currently, we have about 460,000 of claims submitted.
Thanks for that. I think that's such an incredible number, and I want to point out again that the Ukrainian version of the application form was launched at the end of March. So we're talking just over 2 weeks now, if I'm not mistaken, and to get that volume of applications. You had mentioned the robot at the beginning, and I know that's linked to your payment process. Do you have a sense of when the first payments will go out?
The first payments of 500 plus are expected in mid-May. So we hope about the 15 or maybe earlier about this. So in the first half of May, maybe we will be able to make first payments of this 500 plus benefits. So
that's great.
Just focus on that, and it's really huge work on robots. This was one slide I just rapidly went through with these registers, but get automatic access to these registers to mix it up in robot. It really requires. For example, one robot, it requires over 1,000 of different scenarios, which are a mixture of legal requirements, legal factors, which have to be mixed. And in the end, you have to decide if to award or not, if it's sufficient to award benefit or not. So it's a huge work done by a team responsible for this automatic software. From this perspective of concept of that, of course, that. We have IT specialists, so somebody has to programize it. So have to prepare software. So so we have also experienced developers for that reason, responsible for our current programs for, let's say, Polish families. So this regular programs. So so we use the same developers also for just a quick development of this software.
That's fantastic. And I think there's been, you've answered at the same time some of the other questions in the chat. I think we have a lot of operational people in the room. So we've gotten a lot of questions on the background to that. Maybe we can answer them separately, more about kind of the software and the system. But I do want to point out, because I think it links to maybe the final question we have time for in the open chat, which is on the lessons that Zeus can share on scaling up without failing, or being able to scale up at speed. And I want to just reflect on it from my side. You've said it many times, but one of the things that I've heard so much is this focus on digitalization, both in the speed of your applications, but also that comment you made at the very beginning that I want to point out again, which is that the process of moving the first two big programs to Zeus, the savings from that funded two additional programs. And I do want to highlight that, because I think in all the talks we have it on digitalizing processes, I think that's exactly the kind of the savings and the expansion that we're looking for. But back to the question for you, I wanted to say, any lessons that you would share with other participants from governments or international organizations or others in this room on scaling up at this speed without failing? Thank you.
I can just add one thing, because also it is important just to realize that this digital exclusion is a quite important issue. So last year we successfully ended and just provided support with this 300 plus as a kind of pilot program. And it occurred that actually in Poland, this is not the case, because all the people, all the families were able to click online to submit the claims online, and even just little the numbers are very little of people who just went to our offices and asked for help. So it is rather theoretical problem in Poland, and of course there's the question of of differences of different societies. I mean, Polish society and the Ukrainian society. So we know that there are two things. There are some Ukrainians who so on their own would like to apply for these benefits. They can easily get access to this to our customer offices, to places where they can apply for this support with help of Ukrainian speaking people. Also, we offer this kind of support as well. But also some Polish families are trying to help to click out this claims on behalf of Ukrainian families living with them. They are living together, and they are going, okay, so I will help this family to click out the form. So both categories of customers are covered by our support, just to be sure that nobody will be excluded from the processing. So I think it really works, and last year shown that it was just theoretical problem in Poland.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I mean, I'm sure if you have the opportunity, there are so many questions in the chat, and maybe we'll follow up on a couple of these afterwards. And you'll also find so much more detail on the website and when we share the PowerPoint as well, colleagues. So so I hope you will have the opportunity to do a follow-up. And mostly, I just hope that you've had an opportunity, everyone in the room, to absorb the incredible work that our colleagues here are doing. I wanted to give a very warm thanks again to the director and to the colleagues from Zeus, and basically to the government of Poland for this incredible work. And thank you again. And now I would like to just hand over to Sarah Blinn for the next part of our session. So thank you. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Pamela and Dr. Schipke, for your really inspiring presentation and for putting this expansion of the Big Four into perspective for the humanitarian community. So we were struck by the speed at which the law was enacted for Ukrainian refugees and how it's translated into benefits, which was made possible through the flexing of IT systems, the adaptation of the program to make it inclusive of Ukrainian nationals, and the huge mobilization from the central state to respond to the crisis. I think that as aid workers, we're often criticized for sidelining existing state services and local actors in the response to crisis. We tend to set up isolated relief programs, and we know from experience that it does undermine the sustainability and it can create dependency. And we know from the grand bargain that we want to move away from this. The example that you have given us, Dr. Schipke, is really enlightening and inspiring for us as we join the response to the Ukraine crisis. So I'm now going to turn to Bozena Sajka and Massimo La Rosa for a conversation on the implications of this presentation for us as aid workers. So I'm going to ask you three questions. What lessons can we learn from hearing from the Polish experience? What is next for us, the humanitarian community in the EU and in non-EU countries across Europe, and maybe more widely in other crises around the world? And what reflection can we bring around the most vulnerable and marginalized populations amongst the refugees? Dr. Schipke did talk about this challenge. Bozena, I'm going to hand over to you first. You can introduce yourself and over to you. Thank you.
So, hi, my name is Bozena Sojka, and I'm based at the University of Wolverhampton, and I am former aid worker, but currently working in academia and working mainly on unaccompanied asylum-seeking children and their access to social security rights, both in practice and in policy. And thank you very much, Dr. Schipke, for this fascinating presentation. I've learned a lot, and it's amazing how much work has been done over the last couple of weeks and how quickly ZUS adapted to this new reality faced in Poland. And while listening to your presentation and preparing for today's meeting, I was thinking that this whole situation is bringing us several questions that needs answering. And I think those several questions that need answering to support hosting countries' existing systems and align them with humanitarian responses to reach the most in need as rapidly as possible. So I guess this today's event brings aid workers and humanitarian sector together with kind of national state social security system of Poland in today's case. And I think what's fascinating is to perhaps ponder a bit about how those two worlds could be brought up together in order to even help, if needed, to national social security systems in cases like we are witnessing now in Central and Eastern European countries. For example, to what extent are international actors engaging with the existing systems in hosting countries, so for example in Poland, and how are efforts being coordinated? Or even more importantly, and I guess that would be a question to Dr. Schipke as well as to Mr. Jedynak, that is this kind of help or assistance would be needed, or is it welcomed, or how this kind of assistance and help could be delivered in collaboration with existing kind of actors, humanitarian actors that usually work perhaps not in European countries, but rather, or not most of European countries, but rather so-called overseas, if we think about EU. We need to also understand of how to make social protection system crisis sensitive and crisis resilient, but yet again, not only in countries where the crisis is happening, so not only in Ukraine, when conflict is happening, but also in receiving countries or hosting countries like Poland, in this kind of destination countries, because, for example, one of the things that Dr. Szybki mentioned is that people will be able to, Ukrainian refugees will be able to claim certain benefits, will be allowed to stay legally, lawfully in Poland until next summer, summer of 2023. And I'm sure there are already discussions and plans of what will happen if the conflict will continue and people won't be able or will be unwilling to return. Then what? So again, those conversations could start happening now. Also, one of the interesting questions and to ponder is the conflict creating new types of vulnerability and inclusion challenges relating to, for example, age and disability in hosting countries. And I think Dr. Szybki spoke about this disability, help for disabled refugees and all that. But for example, we know that there is around 5,000 orphans now placed in Poland, and the needs of this unaccompanied, essentially children, are very unique and very specific. Question would be to ponder also: is social workers in Poland, are they ready to work with children who experience a post-traumatic stress disorder? And as we know, unaccompanied refugee children, around 60–70% of them do have those kind of experiences. So yet again, perhaps this is the area where humanitarian sector could collaborate with social security system at national level, perhaps. And finally, how are Ukrainians who have fled as refugees to other countries, such as Poland, are able, or are they able really, to access their benefits from Ukraine? And this is especially around, let's say, portability of pensions. Is it important to perhaps have conversation with Ukrainian side about portability of pensions to Poland from Ukraine? Is that something that states could discuss, or social security system between themselves? So there's plenty of other questions, and I guess I provided more questions than answers, but I think those are very important and maybe a little bit broad questions that we could, as this international kind of community of academic aid workers, humanitarian sector, broadly understood, and social security system representatives could maybe work through together in order to even respond more efficiently in future to situation like the one that we are witnessing today. Thank you.
Thank you, Bożena. That's really spot on, very crucial points that you brought up. Massimo, please.
Yes, thank you. I will try to be brief considering the time left, but I think it has been incredible to listen how the social protection is in action already in Poland. A quick word from my side. I'm a policy advisor working for the Humanitarian Directorate of the European Union, and I'm currently based in the regional office in Amman. Few words from my side. I'm following remotely the crisis in Ukraine at the moment, providing some technical support. The first word that I would come to my mind when I listen to the presentation today is how Poland and as an EU member state, how the EU solidarity is in action today. And when we look at a technical level, what is happening, it's with a temporary protection directive that was a key document that was...
Massimo, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but we can't hear you that well. So if you can either come closer or start shouting, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Sorry. So the temporary directive, the temporary protection directive was a key document to help the EU member states, and it was decided at the highest level in the Council to agree on the solidarity. And social protection is clearly one way to support the Ukrainians, but not only the Ukrainians. This is open to all the people that were resident in Ukrainian before the beginning of the war. So even other nationalities are included. The second point that I would like to mention is how quickly everything started. We should not forget the war started approximately 50 days ago. The other part is that usually in the humanitarian crisis, when these huge displacement of population happen in a few days, the humanitarian starts, and then we seek a kind of transition with development and with the government. This is a practical example in which, when in a country the social protection system is mature, and when there is the political willingness to integrate temporary others in the national system, there is no need of humanitarian aid most of the time. And I think this is a very important message, in my opinion, that we should reflect together also for other crises in other parts of the world. So here we don't have only social assistance. That is a typical, usually one of the first programs funded in crisis response. Here we have the full package of social protection. We have integration in the education system, and what we are seeing in Poland, it's happening in other countries as well. I'm Italian, I saw it, Ukrainian children already in school in these days. Health and linkages to the job market. So this is another very important step in which the social assistance another time, it's just one tool of the social protection framework, but the linkages to become self-reliant, earning a salary and an income, if there are opportunities within the legal framework, it's an option for the people that had to leave, unfortunately, Ukraine in the last few weeks. So these are, I would say, key important points. I just would like to conclude with one more, would say, technical. That is what we heard from our colleague from the government of Poland on digitalization and innovation. This is a very another important element when we heard about registration, management, and potentially a common EU platform for the free movement of the population, because the temporary protection directive gives also the opportunity of the people to be transferred from a country to another. There are still issues that need to be finally decided. For instance, the redistribution of the people within the 27 member states. We know that Poland at the moment is receiving most of them, and it's for the EU solidarity probably is important that all the members will be somehow involved in this response. I stop it here for now because I know the time is limited and maybe there are a few questions from the participants. Over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Massimo. I think you really rightly pointed to the fact that when there is state capacity, humanitarian aid becomes irrelevant. At the same time, Dr. Šipke highlighted one of the areas where we can help, and it's around this challenge from the user end to digitalization, as well as all the other forms of vulnerability that we know from systems that we've supported around the world. The most marginalized are also marginalized from these systems. Dr. Šipke, did you want to come in on some of the points that are raised, and your initial interaction with the humanitarian community? What has this brought to you in terms of your practice, in terms of opportunities going forward? Or maybe, yeah. Oh, you've gone. Okay, I think at least on my screen you're no longer there. So I think I'd like to expand a little bit on your point, Bozena, about the role of the social service workforce, and your suggestion that they can really be a bridge for helping the most marginalized people in accessing the systems. What has been your experience of this? What recommendation could be given to those of us who are in other crises or in this particular crisis?
I mean, the question is, so as Massimo mentioned, Polish social security system is well developed, right? But Poland hasn't received so many refugees at once in recent history, really. So I was wondering if Polish social workers and social work system, if I may call it like that, is ready to work with those most vulnerable, traumatized, especially, for example, these unaccompanied children. I'm not sure about that. I'm sure they have great professionals, but perhaps there is a capacity to some collaboration between humanitarian sector and Polish government around training for, let's say, teachers or for people working with this type of children. That's one of the ideas I had in terms of how those two worlds could work together in the country with well-developed system, that there's no need for this direct kind of ad hoc assistance, as Massimo said, because it is provided by the state. But perhaps Dr. Szybkie knows more about that situation on the ground.
Please, Dr. Szybkie, would you like to come in?
Yes, I just like to quickly respond to some queries which I'm able to do. The first thing, cooperation between social insurance institutions like my organization and NGOs. We don't have such a cooperation. So on a regular basis, we cooperate with municipalities, with other organization of, other administration, but it refers rather to kind of customer services, like, for example, let's say post office is offering their space, their buildings for organizing some events for customers, for example, and it is also actually there is an issue if it is necessary on a particular territory of Poland. So we have 43 territorial branches, and they are trying to find out where there is a need of more intensive customer service, and where, when, and who could help, and who we can go to for arrangements. So if any kind of organization is able to go into cooperation. So but of course we are open for such cooperation because any kind of cooperation which can at the end of the day help to our customers is very welcome. So we are open for that. As for extension of period of 18 months of legal stay coming from this special act, it is possible that if this war will last months, so more than 18 months, this period could be extended, but it is the political decision, or maybe different legal act, maybe could be different idea of providing support to these refugees, but it is possible just to extend this period for another period. As for cooperation, so like a question of cross-border cooperation on pensions or social security. It is happy to me because I'm responsible for social security agreements in Poland, so I can easily respond this issue, this queries. So we have social security agreement as a Poland with Ukraine, and basis on this social security agreement, we can resolve many problems. So the first thing is the export of benefits is prescribed, is stipulated in this social security agreement. So any pensioner, any beneficiaries of old age pension, invalidity, also orphans, so survivor pensions, so person for children, yeah, is able to get the money on a bank account in Poland. The payments are made by Ukrainian Social Security Agency, Social Security Fund, actually, it is how it is called, and the payments are made in euro, on the euro account in Poland. This is quite technical information, and it is possible, and they are working. We are in contact with our colleagues from Social Security Agency in Ukraine now. in Kiev, where's the headquarters, but also in Lviv, where's a branch responsible for cooperation with Poland. So we are in a very strict cooperation, and we solve many problems. Because, for example, there are some invalidity pensioners appearing in Poland from Ukraine, and they are so we have also our website and our customer services focus on information that if you are Ukrainian pensioner and you have some problems with getting money, or you'd like to report that you are here in Poland, and here you would like to get your benefits, please contact ZUS, and our organization will contact with the correct organization of Ukraine, and in such a way we can get so-called transfer or export of benefits to Poland. So it works, and there are many problems quite concerning social security, like, for example, like lack of evidentiary of documentation for pension claims, for example. People are not able to provide with proper documents. So we've taken just temporary measures. I just ordered some temporary measures to assure that these customers will temporarily get some benefits, if possible, legally possible, and sometimes a revision of document will be done after the war. This is similar what we did during conflict in Donbass and in Crimea. It's just, for us, it's not from this perspective, nothing new, because we have we had the same or similar arrangements with Ukrainian institution during crisis in Crimea, the war which was a few years ago, and also similar problems. There was problems with like a regular mail. So it is sometimes quite basic problems, but we try to solve them, and it is possible. And the European perspective, this is a question of living in Poland, but also in Europe for Ukrainians. And from our perspective, it's important that, for example, they can use rights to free movement in a manner how third country nationals can access language markers, but also social security. My perspective is perspective of social security. So we read and we this special act together with social security regulations. There are regulation on coordination of social security systems in such a way that it allows, for example, to confirm posting status based on regulation 883 on coordination of social security systems in Europe, also to Ukrainian refugees covered by the special act. So I also just prepared instructions for our clerks that all these Ukrainians are able to get a so-called A1 document as a posted worker to another member state. But of course, there is a problem with access to labor market in this countries. That's a crucial point. If they are they will not get access to labor market, then this social security right is just theoretical one. So I know about that, but I cannot solve all the problems, of course. But it is also not a question of our organization. We are responsible for social security. So to some extent, we are able to provide assistance and provide help to this refugees. And for cooperation between of social workers with Ukrainians and with orphans, this is question which could be probably directed to Polish social family Ministry of Family and Social Policy, which is responsible for this area, not our organization. But I think it's a very important issue. Actually, to maybe to like how to say it, even sometimes completely change the rule of some workers currently temporarily for purposes of the special group of victims of war. To be honest, this is we don't have victims of war in Poland actually normally. But then we suddenly have thousands of victims of war. So it requires special action. So sorry, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Shipke. And I just want to say, that, of course, the temporary directive provided a great platform to be able to do this. But there are portability agreements, as you explained, between Ukraine and an EU country, and there are, for other crises around the world, other types of regional portability agreements. And I think what's so exciting about the way you responded is that you use the full scope of your institutions to be able to find solutions and to find those solutions quickly. And so there are a lot of comments in the chat box around political will. Of course, we know that everything is political, and the political will of the EU has been so conducive to this response, of course. But I think Poland really, you went to such an extent in what is one of the largest refugee crises so far in the history of aid work, at least. Massimo, I don't know if there's any other point that you would like to bring in from the comments that you saw in the chat or from Dr. Shipke's last intervention.
Yes, please. Just maybe a couple of words. One is another, I would say, experience and learning that we are having from this crisis. Often we tend to respond with social protection in protracted crisis. I think this is another example in which social protection can be activated by day one. So I think this is another learning that we could reflect also for other crises in the future. So the other point I would say that is the humanitarian, just also to clarify, is active in the regional Ukrainian crisis, is mainly for inside Ukraine. And we hope that soon the dialogue between the humanitarian and the social protection system that existed in Ukrainian as well will be activated as much as possible. We are aware that the discussions are already ongoing. The other part is on portable entitlement, because I think this is a very key area in which not only in Europe, but as mentioned in other parts of the world is possible. I would say this is another area where also technicians of social protection should try to identify also how we could advocate with the technical level to our counterparts in order to make it possible in many other parts of the world. I would say this is still limited. And finally, I would say just a word on protection. So not social protection, but protection. We should not forget that this is a fundamental area in which all of us, including the humanitarian, we should be alerted and provide some technical support, in particular when there are large displacements in crisis. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much to all of you. Our time has expired and we need to close, but I think there's so many aspects of both the social protection and the cash community that have come together in this conversation, which in a way is unique. At least I've not had this in the middle of a crisis. Usually it's a lessons learned exercise, but this is in the middle of the crisis. So I hope it's an inspiration for all of us, wherever we are coming from and wherever we're based today and we're intervening. I'm not going to summarize all the points. We don't have the time. I just want to thank Zara for facilitating this discussion and all the people who help you. And I'm going to give you the last word for today. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you so much. And again, I mean, it's Dr. Shipke, we can't tell you how grateful we are that you have been able to take this time. I mean, just from the chat and the comments, etc. This is I would say this is one of the first times that we have actually, as a humanitarian community, been able to interact this closely, ask you the difficult questions. You know, we thought you were going to leave for that first hour and you've managed to stay on and stay with us. You will be inundated by requests, and I'm going to do this, which is maybe a little bit awkward, but you know, I have a feeling we have more of an appetite to learn, you know, from what you are doing, what you are looking at, and maybe look at some follow-up discussions, because now we've got the presentation, but some sort of follow-up discussions, maybe with other members of your team, because I know there's a lot of questions around, how does the robot actually work? What does registration look like? How is deduplication happening, etc. But just want to thank everybody. We've extended by 10 minutes as well. And there is a podcast that is coming out that socialprotection.org will be putting up probably next week or the week after. And this was about refugees, and that is about the response inside Ukraine. So thank you, everybody, so much for your time. Very much appreciate it. And we will see you next time from SPIAC-B Working Group on linking humanitarian cash and social protection and the online community. The next webinar is on the 26th of May. Please do fill out the survey when you click and log off. And the SP Hangout is where we can continue to have these conversations and discussion in the D groups that we have from the online community. So thank you very much, everybody, and we will see you next time. Take care.